Hey guys, so today I thought I would show you a little DIY gift because I haven't done one in a while. This is cookie mix in a jar. First of all, you're going to need a little mason jar with a lid, and then I just use these little measuring cups I got from Asda the other day because it's a lot easier than weighing scales, so yeah. You don't have to use those though. And you're going to need plain flour, as well as brown sugar, as well as caster sugar, or you can use normal sugar. I don't think it makes much difference. And you're also going to need cocoa powder. You can use the proper cocoa powder, but I like to use hot chocolate just because it's tastier. You're also going to need baking powder for this one, as well as sea salt, or any kind of salt really. And of course you're going to need chocolate chips, or chocolate drops, or pieces of chocolate. You can really use whatever you want to put in the cookies though, to be honest. So first of all, I'm just going to put down a little plastic mat to protect my surface because I get very messy when I bake. Even though we're not going to be baking today, we're just putting ingredients into the jar, but it's just a lot easier for cleaning up. So first of all, you're going to start with the caster sugar. I will say that the recipe will be down below in the description box just because I can't remember the exact amounts and things, so yeah. Just go down below, check out the recipe before you continue. So basically now we're just going to be adding the ingredients that you need into the mason jar. The idea for this is that you'll get lots of individual layers, so it will look a bit like sand art if you've ever seen that before. Oh, see, I've already dropped some. I told you I was messy. So you're just going to want to drop that in. If you've got a funnel, then that is a lot easier, but obviously I don't, so I'm just sort of trying to get it in the jar with as much ease as possible. Next, you're going to take your brown sugar and put another layer of that in. The first layer is always the easiest because, you know, there's nothing underneath it, so just try and make it as flat as possible before you put the next one in. You can do this by tapping the jar and sort of just shaking it a teeny bit. You'll see that in a moment. But if you twist the jar around, it makes it easier to sort of have an even coverage of the first layer. So just keep twisting and adding and twisting and adding until it's all covered. You see, so you can no longer see the white of the sugar underneath the brown sugar. So I just tapped that a little bit and then shook it. Ignore the thumbs up, that's really cheesy. So next we're going to add our cocoa powder or hot chocolate powder, or if you've got any other kind of powder that you want to put in there for flavouring, that's fine. So I'm just going to spoon that into the cup, just because it's easier and less messy. See, I was really trying not to make a mess here, but it all goes downhill from here really. So I'm just going to add that a little bit at a time just to make sure that I've covered the whole area. It can be quite tricky, but once you get the hang of it, it's really easy. So you can see the layers starting to build up there, and that's exactly what we're going for. You only need a little bit of salt, but it does tell you the proper amount on the recipe below. Next we're going to add our baking powder, which you only need a little bit of really. I will say the size of the jar does make it a bit tricky because I don't think, especially here in England, our jars don't come in like specific sizes, so they're all a bit different, so you have to sort of gauge how much to put in, whether to change the recipe or, you know. So now I'm going to add my flour. This is a bit more tricky because the flour is quite heavy, so you just need to be careful with it really. This is where it gets really messy. I did so well up until this point. And don't worry if it goes around the rim of the jar, because you can just clean that up with some kitchen roll later. But the flour will probably be your thickest layer because that's the biggest chunk of ingredients really. Because you can put the layers in however you like really. I mean, as long as you sort of stick to a guide of how much, like how many grams of whatever it is you're putting in, because you don't want to overload it. But it does make it look a bit prettier if you put the flour in and then you add more cocoa powder or sugar, because it doesn't look the best if you just put the sugar in and then top it all with flour, because it just looks a bit bland if you've got a smaller jar. So I tried to break it up a little bit by putting the cocoa powder in afterwards and then putting more brown sugar on top in a second. But as I say, the recipe will be down below, so it's easier if you follow that more than what I'm telling you. There are other flavours you can try out though. I think there's a peppermint one and there's cowboy cookies, whatever they are. So yeah. But you can add whatever toppings you want really. So I just added a bit more flour on top just to make up for the ingredients. So there you can see the defined layers. And last of all, you're just going to put your chocolate chips in there. And you really want to fill these up to the top, so that should be the last thing you put in. I decided to do double chocolate chip for mine, but you don't have to do that. You could use Smarties or Twix or whatever you like really, because this recipe is supposed to be toffee crunch, but I didn't put any toffee bits in there. And now I'm going to add the white chocolate ones underneath, I mean on top. If they look a bit uneven, you can just separate them with your fingers, it's fine. Now last of all, you're going to want to put a bit of tin foil on your lid if you've got a lid like mine that's meant for like a straw, just because it keeps it fresh and then it's like a full lid instead of having a hole in it, because then things can't get in, you know. So that's it really, and now we're going to dress it up a little bit with some ribbon. I just got these ribbons from craft shops, you know, you can get them anywhere. If you're in the UK, I would suggest Wilko's or Card Factory. I also got these little gem things and the tags from Home Bargains. I got the jar from there too, I should have said earlier. And it's just meant to be like a glass that you drink out of, and then you put the lid on. There's a lot of these around at the moment because they're quite trendy right now. So I'm just putting some ribbon on there. I already made a tag and wrote on it a little, so I just attached that around the ribbon, and then I add the ribbon to the jar, just because it's easier than sellotaping it to the jar itself, which looks a bit ugly if I'm honest. So I just tie it around, tie 2 knots, and then I cut the excess string off. And then I secure the ribbon in place with some sellotape at the back. It's really simple, really easy. I mean, you can decorate it however you like. You could put little gemstones around the outside, or you know, you could even paint the jar if you really wanted to. I'm not that artistic, so you don't want to see me paint. It would just be stickmen or something like that. Now, as I mentioned, my jar is meant for drinks, so it came with a straw. So I'm going to take this string that I had lying around and I'm going to attach the straw to the jar. I just thought this added a little bit extra because who I'm giving this to, they can then use it as a jar or they can use it as a drink. So yeah, you don't have to do that, but it's just something a little extra that I put on. But once you've done that, it's ready to go in a little gift bag, or you know, you could wrap it up, whatever you want to do with it. I just put mine in a little gift bag with some tissue paper in it, and then it was ready to go. This wasn't my original idea, I will say that, but it is really simple, really easy, and it's quite cheap to do because you've got most of these ingredients in your cupboard anyway. So if you're in a pinch and you don't have a gift ready, you can do this yourself. You do have to write on the tag though that they need to put in a certain amount of butter and an egg as well, and then they can mix that together and make their cookies at home. I hope you enjoyed this video anyway. It's just a little DIY gift that you can do for any occasion. It's really simple, really cheap, really easy. If you did enjoy it, then give it a like, subscribe for more videos like this, and I will see you in the next one.